Welcome. I just finished watching all 6 episodes of Vlad Love. I saw them all in the morning back to back. Started it last night. It is created by Mamoru Oshii, and people are very interested in this anime based upon just who directed it because Mamoru Oshii is the director for Angel's Egg, a very, very old, very artistic anime with very few dialogue. Pat Labor, Ghost in the Shell, and he even directed the second Urusei Yatsura movie. So people were very excited for this because they were expecting very, very big things from him. But you can't really expect him to follow up on those works. He's doing whatever he wants to do. Like people were disappointed because they were expecting something deep, or like Angel's Egg, like something to really, really look back and think upon. But again, like, you're not making the anime, he is. So he's going in a new direction, unlike those works. But people are just so close-minded. They really couldn't appreciate what this does. Because if you notice, it has really, really bad scores. I think averages like a 6 out of 10. If you're here for Angel's Egg, Palaver, Ghost in the Shell, this is not for you. This is a different genre of anime. But I'll tell you what I thought about it. I thought it was... I enjoyed it. It's not like one of my favorite ones right now, but I did enjoy it. I thought it was very funny. It has very clever humor. Uh, it's like a somewhat romantic comedy. You could say slapstick because there's a lot of slapping. There's a lot of slapping going around, and funny, gimmicky type violence. It rolls around the story of this vampire called Mai who kind of sneaks into a city where people don't really know about if vampires are real or not. And the main character, who is a girl, has this obsession with donating blood, and because of vampires' love for blood, Mai gets attracted to the van where they're doing donations, and there's some violence ensues, and he kind of adopts her, and he tries to be her guardian. I guess she kind of gets like a crush on her, and he has to provide her with blood to sustain her. The main character even offers herself as an offering, but she doesn't do it. And from there, the story kind of, I guess, progresses. I have my notes. I can kind of go through in more detail. Now, one thing that's funny about the main character is that she has a problem with thinking out loud. Like, if she is talking to somebody, she'll criticize them or say what she really thinks. But her thoughts are like they haven't explained it yet. If she just thinks out loud and says it without noticing, or people can somehow read her thoughts, because there's parts where her mouth isn't moving, but people can still hear her thoughts. So that's not really explained, but there are also times where when she gets caught, she covers her mouth. So it seems she probably just doesn't know how to think in her mind. She just has a big mouth and just says everything, and it gets her in a lot of trouble. The animation is beautiful. It's very well animated, and in fact, it's funny because this is an anime that's one of those animes that's like tries to be self-aware of what it is. For example, when the bats are flying, there's people talking in the background saying, "Oh, are those CGI bats?" And then they start talking about the budget in animation. It's kind of funny how you have animes that try to be self-aware, kind of like the parroting anime. Um, oh, so the MC lets Mai stay in her closet, kind of like Rukia from Bleach. And the MC's gender it's like played around. Like her dad still calls her his son, but then he says rather my daughter. So maybe she's non-binary, maybe she's transgender, maybe the dad is just out of touch with gender. I don't know what the deal is with the main character, but she refers to herself as a woman. It's also funny that the nurse character, she often refers to Fallout 4. So there's a lot of like, if you're like a hardcore like gamer, or like you're in otaku, there's like jokes for you in this anime. It goes beyond just the basic vampire story. But Fallout 4 is a topic for another video. I played Fallout 4, I beat it, but I was disappointed. I still go back to Fallout 3 in New Vegas, but not Fallout 4. And so this this anime talks a lot about vampires. So if that's the kind of thing, or if you're like part of the Castlevania crowd, and this is the anime for you, there's a lot of talk about the lore behind vampires, what is known about them to be fiction and non-fiction. There's also references to Castlevania, and it's funny because this anime makes fun of copy infringement. For example, there's a scene where one of the characters is dressed as a Street Fighter 2 character, but they tried to not do it completely, and then one of the characters is like, "Oh, you're risking copying infringement." And then there's another part where they're doing a play on episode 6, and they want to call it Castlevania, and one of the characters says, "Well, isn't Konami gonna have a problem with this?" But Konami is censored in the anime, but you know it's Konami, and the character's like, "We're gonna call it Castle of Vania, not Castlevania, but Castle of Vania," and there's like a Simon Belmont, and when the play is going on, they even play like the old school style NES Castlevania music. I thought that was pretty funny, how it it points out the inconveniences of copy infringement. And then the music is wonderful. It has very, very good music. It has a great opening, great ending. It has good music overall. I have no complaints about the animation, no complaints about the music. The main thing people are criticizing is the story or the plot or the premise or whatnot. As for the characters, they've all been, for the most part, explored. Like, we know what they're all about. They just barely it's funny because in this anime, people's personalities depend on their blood type. So at episode 6, there's a girl who is blood type A, and people who are blood type A are like perfectionists. So it is funny because when they give blood to Mai, depending what blood she drinks, it'll alter her personality. Like when she has the blood type A from that girl, she becomes a perfectionist too. So it's funny seeing how they make so much of the personalities come off of the blood type. I'm looking at my notes for episode 2. I already touched upon these things. I just mentioned that. Yeah, I don't think there's a single character I didn't like. I think they're all likable at this point. Like that scary buff guy that looks like he has no eyes. I thought he was a very funny character. You know, and the voice acting is good. I really enjoy the voice acting. Oh, so then eventually, in the beginning, the MC is trying. The main character is trying to prevent the identity of Maya of a vampire getting out because it could affect their way of life. And so she refers to Maya as like a long lost, like extremely distant family member. It's kind of like Dear Mary, where Hiroki has Mary, who is an android that he built based upon the woman that he likes, and he tries to like come up with excuses to her being like a distant family member because she doesn't want people to doesn't want people to know their identity because it can cause a lot of trouble for them. So in Vlad Love is the same concept, except it's with a vampire instead of an android. And one of the things that's funny in this show is how in the beginning, whenever Mai causes like a disaster somewhere in public, the newspaper is like find like funny excuses to excuse me, to cover it up. Oh, and then there's the torture club scene. I mean, it's just funny. Nothing really that stands out about it. The nurse herself, I thought she's pretty cool. I mean, she looks like she's sick, but she's obviously like, you know, the premier fan service of the show, and it's more they make it more than obvious. You know, she's basically laid out for you. Her slapping around though got kind of stale at some point though. So eventually, Mai drinks the blood of a legendary salamander, which turns into a dragon. She burns down like half the city. She flamethrowers a plane that crashes into all the main cast. It was meant to be goofy and comedic. Nobody died, even though they were supposed to die. And I like the scene where they're at the military and they're trying to debate whether or not they should open fire. I just thought I didn't know if I was supposed to take that seriously or not, But I still found it funny for some reason. And then when the pilots are like kill the salamander and then they fire at the dragon, but it didn't work. The strange thing is though is that even though this dragon, even though Mai burnt down more than half the city, by the next episode everybody's like back to normal. Like I thought we would see some aftermath of seeing more than half the city get burnt down. And again, it's funny how they break the forest wall. It's really hilarious. For example, when the dragon flamethrowers the plane and it's coming down, the main character says, "Oh, you know, I'm the main character and I'm already gonna die in episode 4." I just found that funny. In episode 5, it revolves around the main character's dad and Mai's dad, and how they have apparently have like they're rivals and they're trying to constantly kill each other. So it revolved around that. It was just amusing, it was all right. I like the cook, the guy that was making the food. It's funny how when the nurse, so the nurse, she comes in because she wants to draw the blood of the dad of both dads, and they dodge her needles, and she accidentally needles the cook, and he like trips over, all his rice falls over, and I thought that was pretty funny. And so at the end of episode 5, they ask if it's possible for humans to be friends with vampires. The dad says no, of course, but he leaves because the nurse sent the dad. The nurse had sent Mai's dad, who was in a coffin, to Romania. So the main character's dad, Bamda, that's the name, Bamda, I forgot. I'm really bad with names, but anyhow. So the story continues. Episode 6 was the play, which I already touched upon. So far, I do enjoy it. I like the humor. It's amusing. It's an anime that I was able to watch nonstop. Because sometimes I watch anime, and even though it's something that's supposed to be really, really good, I'll like pause it and get back to it like in a week. This one, I watched it all the way through. It was enjoyable. But I do want to see the next 6 episodes, because after that, obviously after that, I'll have a more better review of what I really think about it. Yeah, but if you like this director, Mamoru Oshii, like don't come in here expecting something like his past works. He's doing something different with this one. He's working more on slapstick comedy, themed around vampires. But that's what I love. I enjoyed it. Maybe you will too.